Hello everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Welcome to Diplomat's Desk. I am your host Meet Shah. So on October 14, the United States and United Kingdom launched what they called the largest ever operation against Southeast Asia's online scam syndicates. Washington imposed sanctions on 146 individuals and entities linked to Cambodia's Prince Holding Group, designating it a transnational criminal organization. US prosecutors accused the group and its chairman Chen Zi of running vast forced labor scam compounds and seized nearly $15 billion in Bitcoin, the largest asset forfeiture action in US history. London moved in lockstep, sanctioning the same network and freezing 19 properties in the UK tied to the Prince Group. This is not just a story about one billionaire or one conglomerate. It is the tip of an iceberg. Behind these headlines lies a disturbing reality. Over the past few years, Southeast Asia has become the global epicenter of the online scamming and of a new form of modern slavery. According to the United Nations, hundreds of thousands of people have been trafficked into these scam centers across the region, especially in Cambodia, Myanmar, and Laos. They are lured by fake job offers, then trapped in forfeited compounds and forced to scam victims around the world. Independent research estimates that cyber scam operations in the Mekong region now generate tens of billions of dollars every year. In one estimate, roughly 40% of combined formal GDP of Laos, Cambodia, and Myanmar. So, how did Southeast Asia become the scam capital of the world, and how did this industry grow to such staggering proportions? So, let's get into this. From casinos to compounds, the origin of the scam industry. To understand today's scam empires, we need to look at three overlapping trends: the expansion of casinos and special economic zones, China's crackdown on cross-border gambling, the disruption of COVID-19 pandemic. Over the past decade, countries like Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar courted foreign investment by promoting casinos and special economic zones, especially along borders and in lightly regulated regions. These zones attracted capital, but they also attracted organized crime, particularly networks with roots in mainland China. When Beijing began cracking down on offshore online gambling and underground banking, many of these groups did not simply shut down, they pivoted from gambling and money laundering to online investment scams, romance scams, and crypto fraud. At the same time, COVID 19 pushed more economic activity online and created a global pool of people desperate for jobs. Rogue recruiters used this desperation, advertising customer support, sales, and tech roles in countries such as Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar. Once candidates arrived, their passports were seized, they were taken across borders, and the scam factories gained a steady supply of workers. In parallel, a long-standing ecosystem of drug trafficking and smuggling in the Golden Triangle region, where the borders of Laos, Myanmar, and Thailand meet, provided both the muscle and the money channels for this new digital crime economy. The result was a perfect storm: weak regulation, criminal know how, cheap labor, and global digital connectivity. Why Southeast Asia? The structural advantages of for crime. Several structural factors explain why these regions and not another become the hub. First, lawless or semi-governed spaces. Areas of Myanmar controlled by the militias after the 2021 coup. Parts of northern Laos and certain coastal or border zones in Cambodia offer exactly what criminal groups want: weak state presence, corrupt local officials, and armed actors willing to provide protection. Second, corruption and political protection. Reports from human rights groups and investigative journalists describe scam compound operating openly, paying off local officials, and in some cases enjoying links to political elites. The Chenzi Prince Group case illustrates this. The chairman held prestigious titles and advisory roles in Cambodia, even as the foreign governments now allege his conglomerate's core business was built on forced labor and online fraud. Third, digital infrastructure and regional connectivity. Southeast Asia has cheap smartphones, expanding internet penetrations, and a population extremely active on social media and messaging apps. For scammers, this means both a vast local pool of recruits and easy access to victims globally. Technologies like crypto, encrypted messaging, and now AI generated deepfakes have further supercharged these operations. Fourth, economic incentives. For impoverished local communities and some officials, scam compounds can look like economic lifelines. They bring in cash, pay for constructions, employ local suppliers, even as they hollow out the rule of law. Some experts now warn that these countries risk becoming scam states where illicit revenue becomes structurally important to the economy. So now let's understand how the scam factories works. Inside the compounds, the work is highly organized and industrial. Victims trafficked into these centers from across Asia, Africa, and beyond describe large office floors filled with young people at computers, each person handling multiple phones and messaging accounts. The scam themselves follow scripts and are constantly A/B tested for effectiveness. The biggest categories include pig butchering scams, long-term grooming of victims online, often via romance or friendship, before luring them into fake crypto or investment platforms. Impersonation scams, criminal pose as police, tax officials, delivery agents, or tech supports, threatening digital arrests or freezing of accounts to extort money. Investment trading and betting apps, slick platforms that appears legitimate, sometimes with fake dashboards and forged regulatory documents. Workers are given daily targets, sometimes expected to bring in tens of thousands of dollars in deposits. Those who fail may face beatings, electric shocks, forced labor, or being sold to another compound. So this is why rights group call it cyber slavery, not just financial fraud but systematic abuse of trafficked people compelled to commit crime. Who is affected from Lagos to London to Lucknow? The victims of Southeast Asia scam industry sit at both ends of the chain. The people inside compounds trafficked from China, Vietnam, Thailand, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Uganda, Kenya, Nigeria, and many more countries, and the people outside losing their savings in North America, Europe, Australia, the Middle East, and across Asia. Let's take a few concrete national examples. Like, for an example, in Myanmar, Chinese run compounds along the Thai border, places like the infamous KK Park, have held thousands of trafficked workers. Even when such sites are demolished, operators often relocate ahead of crackdowns, while workers simply disappear into other facilities. In Laos, investigative reports describe young African and Asians trapped in scam offices, each person managing dozens of phones, contacting hundreds of potential victims daily, and facing violence if they refuse. In Cambodia, beyond the Prince Group case, multiple large compounds near casino hubs and special economic zones have been documented as centers of forced online scamming, often guarded, fenced, and virtually off limits to outsiders. Now let's talk about the India and the Southeast Asia scam pipeline. India is not at the margin of this story; it is deeply entangled as a source of victims, a target of scams, and in some cases a source of enablers. India's Ministry of External Affairs told parliamentary panel that at least 2,900 Indian citizens have been rescued from scam centers in Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar, and many more may still be trapped. Some of these Indians are IT professionals and graduates who responded to jobs ads in tech supports, digital marketing, or customer service, only to find themselves trafficked into scam compounds and forced to work under threat of violence. On the other side, India is also a major victim market. One all analysis estimate that India lost roughly 120 million US dollars per month to cyber frauds originating from Southeast Asia based networks. We are seeing some chilling cases where in Gujarat 65-year-old farmer in Vadodara died by suicide after a digital arrest scam where callers traced back to Cambodia, impersonated law enforcement officials, and terrorized him into believing he was under investigations. Police in Ahmedabad uncovered SIM card pipeline where fraudulent SIMs issued using stolen Indian identity documents were smuggled to Cambodia and Dubai for betting and cyber scams. In Haryana, a trafficker was arrested for sending Indian youths to Myanmar for supposed jobs in Thailand, only for them to end up in cyber fraud operations run by Chinese networks. So these cases show that Southeast Asia's scam industry is interlocked with Indian vulnerabilities. Weak KYC enforcement, ghost SIMs, fake job agents, and limited public awareness of sophisticated online fraud. So the global response here for the cracking down on scam states is governments and international bodies are beginning to treat this phenomena not just as isolated cybercrime but as a systematic security and human rights threat. So the United Nations Human Rights Office and UNODC have published detailed reports on trafficking for forced criminality in Southeast Asia, calling for coordinated action against both traffickers and complicit officials. The global initiative against transnational organized crime has documented how cyber scam profits rival those of the regional drug trade and how compound based crime threatens governance itself. Countries like Thailand have launched raids and cut power and internet to certain compounds through though criminal often move operations beforehand. India has conducted multiple rescue and repatriation missions, bringing home hundreds of citizens tricked into the cyber fraud work, and has stepped up cooperation with Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar. And now the US and UK sanctions on Prince Group mark a new stage, treating the region's biggest scam conglomerate as transnational criminal organizations, cutting them off from the global financial system and seizing assets at an unprecedented scale. But enforcement alone is not enough. As long as vulnerable workers see overseas jobs as their only escape, corrupt officials can be bought cheaply, and victims around the world can be manipulated by fear, love, and greed online. So these scam factories will continue to adapt, relocate, and innovate. If we are serious about dismantling Southeast Asia's scam industry, three things are essentials. One, treat cyber scams as a combined issue of organized crime, human trafficking, and governance. This means not only arresting low level recruiters but targeting kingpins, complicit officials, and the financial networks that move billions in illicit profits. Two, protect and decriminalize the trafficked workers. Many of the people inside these compounds are victims first and foremost. They need safe exit pathways, legal status, and support, not immediate criminalization. That's the only way to generate witnesses and intelligence is strong enough to dismantle these networks. 3. Build global resilience, including in India, from strengthening KYC and SIM issuance to cracking down on job placement fraud to massively scaling public awareness about romance, investments, and digital arrest scams. Prevention has to be as sophisticated and well funded as the criminal themselves. So, the story of Southeast Asia scam industry is not just about the scam billionaire in Phnom Penh or a demolished compound on a remote border. It is about how weak institutions, digital technology, and transnational crime can combine to create a shadow economy that rivals legitimate sectors, and how ordinary people from Kampala to Kolkata to Kansas end up paying the price. The recent sanctions on Prince Group may mark the beginning of a serious international response, whether they also mark the beginning of the end for the scam states of Southeast Asia will depend on what the region and the world decide to do next. Thanks for watching this and see you in the next one.